All right, we are live. What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman about to tweet out the fact that I am live, but we're here. Following the Week 18 matchup between the Bills and the Patriots, the victory that is. And we're going to break down what I saw, what I thought, and get your guys' thoughts and opinions as well, and just talk about what went down in this game, how we felt about it. Of course, it was an emotional one from start to finish, considering the circumstances over the last week or so, but with that being said, we were still able to capture a victory in light of everything that has been going on. So you can't be anything but happy at the end of the day. Of course, every game is going to come with its critiques, its thoughts, its negatives. But at the same time, you can't be too critical on a team that's gone through a lot over not only this last week, but the entirety of the year. With that being said, it's been a tough one. What's going on, Get Gooder? How you doing, man? Thanks for popping in. We're going to talk about this Bills game from start to finish and give you guys my thoughts. I'm going to allow it to kind of get going first before I really jump into anything, and then tweet out the fact that I am live. And then we'll really get some folks in here, get some thoughts, pouring into the chat, and then we'll really get this going. But it was an emotional one, man. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. It started off with the Nyheim Hines kick return touchdown. I don't think there was any better way to really start the way that one went. It's almost, it kind of reminds me of when the Bills, we had our first home game against the Steelers a couple of years back when it was the first time with fans after COVID. The following season, Isaiah McKenzie brought that kick return like 86 yards almost to the end zone. That's what that kick return by Hines kind of reminded me of, getting people back together after what was a tough time for everybody. And Isaiah McKenzie nearly took that one to the house. This Nyheim Hines return reminded me of the same exact thing. Hines, it was the day of Nyheim Hines. Without him, this game's a lot different. I think it's pretty obvious, and it goes without saying. But he got us in it at points. He also won us the game at points with his impact. And eventually, even when he wasn't returning the ball, we forced Nick Folk to kick it low, kind of squib it to keep the ball on the ground away from him without any return possibility. And that led up to, a drive starting at the 4-yard line since he kicked it out of bounds. So his impact was felt from start to finish, regardless if the ball was in his hands. He was doing something to that Patriots team that they were not ready for, weren't prepared for, and really gave us the victory in a sense. An aspect to our game that really hasn't impacted positively that much this year. So it was nice to see that dimension kind of come out of the woodwork and make that much of a difference for us. So that was pretty damn cool on Hines' part to be able to get that going. Let me just get this tweeted out, and then I'll really start to get into my thoughts here. Live post game reactions. Hashtag Bills Mafia. Live streaming. Post game thoughts. Hop in. Sorry, I should probably do this before the game, or not before the game, but prior to me going live, right? Hop in. Arrow. Okay. I'm throwing. Okay. There we go. We're good. It's out now. Let's just make sure that this goes to the right place as it should, and it does. Okay. So yeah, there were a couple of things I wanted to talk about regarding this game because I had, as I'm sure you did yourself, I had my thoughts, my concerns. This defense at points was really baffling me. The offense at points, which I think we're used to up to this point, was confusing me. Josh Allen did not look right. Well, let's put it this way. Josh Allen looked inconsistent. It looked like the Josh Allen we've been seeing this year. Bad decision making. Not on target with a lot of his passes. He was boom or bust today. That's really what it was. He was looking for the long ball. He was looking for the big play, and was really having a hard time taking what he was given. And I felt like that was the name of Josh's game. So we'll start with Josh Allen, who didn't play bad, obviously, by any stretch. He was 19 for 31 for 254 and 3 touchdowns. But I did feel like at points Josh was reverting back to immaturity, to his immature ways, I should say. There were opportunities to take what he was given. He wasn't taking it. Of course, the long ball worked at times, but at other points, it's like you don't need to force it in that situation. You had options shorter that could have picked up the first down or a decent chunk. He's got to trust his guys to make a play in open space, and I felt like he really wasn't. He wasn't doing that at points. Everything was just, him trying to make the play with his arm instead of, giving the ball to a guy quick and allowing him to do the hard work. So, I'd like to see that kind of change going into the postseason. He's not going to be able to do everything. He can't be forcing those types of plays when it comes to being in a playoff game, which we do know will be against the Miami Dolphins. But can you guys hear me all right? Well, with that being said, Josh Allen needs to kind of screw his head on straight going into this wild card game. I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to be fine. But for example, and I have it ready. I'm actually slightly prepared for the show, even if you don't believe me. I'm going to show you, because I do have the NFL Plus, so I can go back and watch a game. So this is something that I felt like happened on a relative often basis for Josh. Share screen. This tab. Well, actually, let's go Chrome tab. Okay. So here I have a 3rd and 2 on the Bills. I think this was their second or third drive of the game. And Josh Allen, this is the play that Josh Allen hit Diggs early on a deep crosser. And I just want to get your thoughts on, what Josh could have done here, or maybe, of course he made the play, so I'm not going to blame him. But in my opinion, he does get an offensive line that holds up. In situations here and there today, it really wasn't the case. The offensive line was hit or miss. Sometimes they were sending more than 4, and the offensive line was getting overwhelmed. But in this situation, to me, it becomes overcomplicated. I understand that, you got the time in the pocket, but to me, the play is Devin Singletary. It might be early to check it down. You're waiting for the play to develop, and I could be wrong in this sense. It's just the way I'm looking at it. You check this down to Devin. I mean, he's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 yards to cover ground, but he's not slow. He's not really covering much ground with the throw, so it's not like the time that the linebacker has to come downhill is that long. So, I mean, this ball gets to him quick. I mean, he's going to have one guy to beat. I mean, he's too far behind to kind of come down and make a play. I trust Devin Singletary to make one man miss with this much open field to get a first down. Like I said, he got the first down to Diggs. It was a big play. But there were multiple instances, and I don't have the timestamp for the other one specifically that I'm thinking of. But just trust your running back in open field, man. Just let him do the work. I mean, this is a situation where he was able to uncork one, and it goes to Diggs, right? So it ends up working out, but this was pretty much Josh's MO all day. The anything 15 to 20 yards plus downfield is what he wanted, and it was just frustrating in that sense. For Josh to kind of be reverting to the big play. He was really good at the beginning of the year of taking what he was given, and there was even a point where Devin Singletary was one of his main targets. He was just running a check out of the backfield. Turning around 5 yards, from the line of scrimmage, and Josh was hitting him on the numbers. That was something that was working consistently for us. And it's not like that's changed from a game plan standpoint. There are many opportunities where Josh could be going to those guys, going to the check down, and he's simply not. And today it cost us. Maybe I'll be able to find the interception in a little bit, but, Josh Allen needed to be a little bit smarter with his decision-making today. And, as fun as the John Brown long ball was, as fun as the Stephon Diggs bomb touchdown was, it's not going to be given to us that often, at least in a playoff game. We might get it once, might get it twice if we're lucky, but Josh was looking for it constantly. And, against these playoff secondaries, we're not going to be given it constantly. So we need Josh to be a little bit smarter with his decision making and where he's going with the ball, because today I felt like was a very inconsistent, very old Josh type of day. Big player bust for him. So I wasn't really digging that. But in some more positive news, he, of course, on the positive side of things for Josh, he was making the big plays. As bad as it was that I felt like the decision making was, Josh was still hitting the guys downfield. He hit Gabe Davis on that deep ball, at the end of the game, which I felt like was unnecessary, why we were bombing it at that point, whatever. But Josh was just chucking. And he hit Gabe Davis right in the numbers, man. It was a beautiful throw. He stepped up in the pocket and launched it. And we have Gabe Davis to make those kind of plays. Let's see if I can find it at the end here, and we can replay it. It's just like we have Gabe for these moments that I feel like he's built for. Gabe Davis is, I think, 6'1". He's a heavier set guy. He's supposed to be a physical receiver that can go up and make catches like this. And this isn't the first time where I felt like, hey, Gabe, like you got to catch that, my man. Like that's something we have you here for to do. Oh, was it the drive prior to this? I'm just skipping through it right now. This is what we have you for, Gabe. We have you to be that guy, the chuck and go get guy. Ah, man, where's the stupid play? I'm not gonna be able to find it, am I? Or is this it? Here it is. Okay, beautiful. Mikey says, I feel for the Patriots lost the game because of 2 kick returns. Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to that. Nyheim Hines won this game for us. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, and kept the Bills on track, kept the Bills in the game, and really turned the tides when we needed him to most. The offense was not good today. It really wasn't. 35 points does not spell a good day on offense. It usually would for most cases, but today it wasn't. Kim says emotional victory for the whole team and all of us. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm going to be critical to begin with, but of course I'm going to get to the positives, but I want to get the negatives out of the way. But going back on the point of Josh. So like I said, I'm not entirely sure what we were doing here. We're up by 12. It's 3:47, 3rd and 12. The play oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing my screen. My bad. Chrome tab. Okay. So like I was saying, I'm not entirely sure what was going on in this drive. It was just like a fuck around and find out kind of drive for the Bills, to be truthful. The play before this was the bomb to the Diggs. We could probably go look for it, because why not? This was the bomb to Diggs where it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are we really, how far back was this? I should have just stuck with what I had. Don't pay for NFL Plus. Seriously, it's terrible from a user perspective. Okay, here we go. So here's the I don't know what this drive was. In my opinion, I think the management of this drive was a little bit skeptical. I'm not exactly sure what the play design looked like, what was exactly the primary route given for Josh, but of course he was feeling the heat. That was happening in this game, and this just isn't smart. I don't know what the game plan is. This is literally, that describes Josh's whole game. Just kind of chuck and pray. And then here on 3rd and 12, it works. Once again, feeling pressure, jumps to the pocket, jumps ahead of the pocket, and it goes right through Gabe's hands. This is what we have Gabe Davis for. He's not a route technician. He's not the guy in short spaces. He's not a guy that you need to make a possession catch at the sticks. He's your big play guy. That's what Gabe Davis is supposed to be, and that's what he was early in the season. Not to pile on the guy, but that's why Gabe Davis, has really made a name in this league, and he's really struggled to be that guy. His opportunities have been limited. It seems like he's not able to get separation down the field like he was earlier in the year. I'm not sure if it's because of his ankle injury and his ability not to get separation. Whether he's I don't think he's getting bracketed, but I think guys are, following him a little bit tighter than they were previously. These opportunities are, not that frequent anymore. And we had the one against the Jets where he was up against Sauce Gardner and Josh put it on his chest in a 4th and gazillion situation. That went through his hands. I'm sorry, that needs to be caught. For a guy that this is supposed to be a specialty. I'm not asking Cole Beasley, Isaiah McKenzie, Khalil Shakir to make these catches. I mean, this is Gabe Davis, big frame, physical receiver with what we thought was strong hands. The ball's just slipping through. I mean, this needs to be a catch. And this is the exact type of situation. Granted, it doesn't matter. We're up by 12. It's, 3rd and 12, end of the game. But, that's a catch. This is the NFL, man. If that meant anything, if this play meant anything, similar to the Jets one that he dropped against Sauce, I'm furious. I'm furious, man. This is what we have Gabe Davis to do. I'm not going to sit here and say that he needs to be replaced or anything like that, but maybe the role of Gabe Davis needs to be transformed. I'm not entirely sure how, because I think his skill set is designed, or his skill set is structured to be this type of receiver. The big play guy, the physical guy to go make a catch one-on-one. That's what he kind of is built to do and what, he has done throughout his career. But as far as making him multidimensional, I think something needs to change, whether it, if it's on the part of Ken Dorsey or not. But, it's just not acceptable. Gabe Davis has been pretty much just any ordinary guy, next to Stephon Diggs for the second half of the year here. And we can't be having that. He's supposed to be the guy that stepped up. Dawson Knox, thankfully, has been a big factor. But we need more from Gabe, man. It's as simple as that. And this that play right there pretty much encompasses how Gabe Davis has been the second half of the year. And it's unfortunate. It really is, because he started off so hot. He was looking promising as that type of receiver. And you would think, Gabe being able to – these stupid bots. You would think, based on how the year started for Gabe and teams recognizing that he's becoming this danger down the field, that he'd be able to capitalize on that. He'd be able to take receivers up the field and then cut back. He'd be able to threaten with his deep threat ability, and be able to develop routes due to that threat that he poses down the field. But he really hasn't been able to capitalize on that. We need more from Gabe in the postseason here. We're going to need more. Dawson Knox, like I said, thankfully has been stepping up. So hopefully he becomes more involved and continues to be involved. So there's that regard. But as far as Gabe Davis goes, it's not been a pretty second half. I think we can explore our options, whether it's in the draft or in free agency, as far as bringing in another receiver that can potentially fill out this role. And I don't even know if Isaiah Hodgins. I know I pound the table all the time that we should have kept Isaiah Hodgins. In hindsight, of course, releasing him at the time, I didn't think much of it. But of course, now it's really biting us in the ass. But I mean, I'm looking for maybe an established guy to bring in next to Steph. I don't necessarily know if I'm in the market for, I don't know, like somebody off the practice squad, if you will, that we have a lot of hope for, like an Isaiah Hodgins. I think at this point we're in a window where I'd like us to attack, like similar to how we brought in Emmanuel Sanders, somebody like that. I think an Emmanuel Sanders type guy was perfect for this offense, and it was explosive when Emmanuel Sanders was around. It was unfortunate that he struggled with his knee, but an Emmanuel Sanders type of pickup, I think, would be very perfect for this offense, going into next season. So, enough on that note. Let's address some of the comments. Mikey says, Pickens says, thanks for helping the Dolphins. Yeah, well, I mean, we couldn't do anything else. We won the game, so it's as much as we had to do. Unfortunately for the Steelers, they were not able to squeak in because the Dolphins ended up taking down the Jets, which I had the Jets winning that game, and it was almost possible. Unfortunately, it did not go that way. But Cowboys just muffed a punt and now messed up a punt. Now muffed a kickoff. Washington is going to smoke them. Seriously, what's the score of that one? Interesting. It breaks my heart seeing how often Gabe drops potential game-changing passes. It really is. Especially considering the way he started. If we went into this year and he didn't explode the way he did throughout the first 6 games, then I really don't think what's happening with Gabe down the stretch would be that surprising for one or that heartbreaking for two. But because of the way Gabe Davis started and the way things have unfolded throughout the last 8, it's been really tough. So like I said, I think going into the offseason, I would like us to attack that second receiver position, not to take Gabe's job away, but to kind of distribute the workload, distribute the snaps. And like I said, a guy like Emmanuel Sanders, who we brought in a couple of years back, was perfect. So I think we try to attack in that regard. Going to the defensive side of the ball, Trey's interception was a turning point for the defense. Yeah, I mean, hey, I've been seeing a lot of people not happy with Trey White's performance over the last few games, but I've been pleased. I thought ever since the Dolphins game where he was, I mean, you're asking Trey White to line up and press man against the fastest receiver duo in the NFL, and he was doing it to what I thought was a very high level. I mean, you're asking a guy who's coming off of an ACL injury, probably not fully confident in his knee, definitely not up to speed, but still a corner that's up in that upper echelon of talent, and he's still going out there and making plays. And today, another big interception that was a huge turning point for this defense, like Lucas said. So I think Trey White's been a huge help to that secondary, man. I mean, I can only imagine what it'd look like, especially with, Damar Hamlin, of course, was coming along. He was becoming an established guy next to Jordan Poyer. And now without him, obviously the football side of it doesn't matter. I'm happy that Damar is okay. But my point being, Damar was becoming an established guy back there. And now he's down. And thank God Trey came back, and he's been making an impact because we really needed him, and thankfully it's been a good one. Can we please stop with the McKenzie? Please be over this McKenzie experiment. I think the McKenzie experiment, one of the takes that I did get correct. I don't get many out there. I throw a bunch of shit against the wall and hope it sticks. One of the shit throws I had was Isaiah McKenzie was not fit for the slot receiver role, and he doesn't deserve to have the keys, given to this role. And I think earlier in the season we were trying to force that. It didn't work out. I think at this point the experiment is, for the most part, over in terms of giving him the large portion of the workload. I know Cole Beasley wasn't active today, but we saw a lot of Khalil Shakir. So that was good. I think I'm not sure exactly what the snap counts looked like for today's game, but we saw a decent chunk of Khalil Shakir, which was good. I was happy about that. Seeing Khalil as involved as he was. He had a target in the back of the end zone that was slightly underthrown. That went off the back of, I think, Devin McCourty's head. So it was good to see Khalil Shakir worked in today. Something that's confused me is Khalil Shakir's workload. Not sure what's up with that, but it was good to see him worked in today. I think for the most part, Pokemon, it is over. I think he's out there because he is the veteran presence on this team in terms of that position. But as far as trying to work him in as the primary guy that was like a Cole Beasley, I think that experiment's over. Mikey says, Washington still sucks. Wide left kickoff or wide left field goal. Lucas says, I would love to see Shakir get more targets in the playoffs. Yeah, I think what holds Shakir back, just from a surface level perspective, is his. I don't think he's a good blocker. I think we're trying to keep bigger bodies out there that can block. We're coming out in heavier sets more often, and when he's down on the depth chart. So, you're coming out in heavier sets. That's less wide receivers. And Khalil Shakir is being so low to begin with, and on top of the fact that I just don't think he's a big enough, physical enough guy to really be out there for those types of plays. And, he got his opportunity today. We came out in a lot of 11 personnel sets. So he did get his fair portion of run. But I think because of the way that Ken Dorsey is shifting to heavier personnel, bringing in the jumbo packages. We've been under center a lot more, I feel like, this season. So I think that's just kind of relegated Khalil Shakir's role and the potential of his role. But that doesn't mean he can't be impactful. So I would like to see him worked in a little bit more as well, because he had a big catch and run today. He had a target in the back of the end zone where he beat his man. The ball was slightly underthrown. He's a difference maker, and he definitely could be given the opportunity. Like King Mikey said, Shakir has good potential, and I like the fact that we gave him some run today. Against the Patriots team, which is typically good in terms of coverage, and he had his way. I'm confident in any young player we got because of the people they have to back up and learn from. Yeah, I mean, most of our young players have been excellent. I know Kyrie Elam did get kind of head topped by Devontae Parker, but Devontae Parker, that's what he's made his name in the league doing. So I'm not gonna beat up Kyrie Elam for that. Devontae Parker has made a living in the NFL doing exactly what he did to Kyrie Elam, so I'm not too upset about that. But I think Kyrie is he's gonna come along. He's gonna develop, but he's specifically good at being a physical, in your face type of corner. And I think he's when put in that position, done a good job. And it's not often that we kind of play that type of defense. We did it against the Dolphins, and I thought he had a relatively decent game. So I think he's coming along nicely. Justin says, can we please just beat the Dolphins? That's who we have, folks. Next week, the wild card round, we get Miami. Will Tua play? Tua concussion watch is now on. Will Tua Tagovailoa be the guy? I don't know. I would say no. I think in the best interest, I'm not even just speaking as a Bills fan, hoping he doesn't play. I'm just saying from a humanity perspective, it's probably in his best interest, and even the Dolphins' best interest, to let him just not play. He's been through a lot. 3 concussions this year. 3 pretty violent concussions, I will add. Not good. He doesn't need to be thrown out to the wolves again. At this point, I know people were murmuring about a possible retirement for Tua. I think that's off the table for now, but he gets another concussion, then a retirement news could definitely start to really spark. Like I said, I think it was just a rumor to begin with, and people saying he should retire. But if he suffers another concussion, and if he plays in this upcoming game, then that poor guy is going to have outstanding issues up here for the rest of his life. Is it really worth that? No, it's not. Lucas says Stephen Ross is a greedy. Greedy Beast, so we'll probably Greedy Bastard. I don't know why I'm not saying it. Greedy Bastard, so he'll play. Yeah, I mean, he probably will. No, I actually I take that back. I don't think he's going to play. I think we're going to see Skylar or Teddy. I think Teddy Bridgewater is who we're going to see. He was active today. He backed up Skylar Thompson. I think we will see Teddy Bridgewater next week, with his broken pinky or whatever he's dealing with. And he was on Tyreek. As far as I'm concerned, he returned to the game. I don't know if there was another injury that occurred, but Tyreek Hill did get hurt. He returned to the game. If something else happened, then please enlighten me. Excuse me. But as far as I know, he's doing just fine. Who else can we talk about? The other, I thought, as you can see by the ticker that I have going down at the bottom of the screen, I had 3 stars from today's game. Nyheim Hines, of course, for very obvious reasons. 4 kick returns, 235 yards in kick return yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, massive game changer. He was my first star of the game. Second star of the game was Stefon Diggs, once again, for relatively obvious reasons. Came up big when he had to. Active in the short game, active in the deep ball game. He was all over the field, making plays in the short, the intermediate, the deep. He was everywhere. I don't know how many times he was targeted, but in terms of what was catchable, he probably caught everything that was catchable. So Stefon Diggs, once again, doing what Stefon Diggs does best. It's nice to see him worked back in. There was a spell of time after the first half in like the early third quarter, or actually for a majority of the third quarter, where we really didn't hear from Stefon Diggs. There are just points where we just don't go to him very often. It's confusing. It's relatively confusing. It started off a few weeks back, and over these last 2 or 3 weeks now, Stefon Diggs has been just kind of a here and there type of impact player, and that's not okay. Stefon Diggs needs to be a focal point on a week-to-week basis. If other cogs are turning, other wheels are turning, then fine. But we find ourselves in situations where we're struggling to move the ball. The quick game's not working, the run game's not working, nothing over the middle. The deep to intermediate game isn't working. So that's when Diggs needs to be worked in more. And today he was worked in all over the field. So that was nice to see. The third star I gave today was to Teron Johnson, who I thought had a fantastic game. Teron Johnson, similar to Stefon Diggs, just on the opposite side of the ball, was all over the place. He played physical at the line of scrimmage, bully ball, as Teron Johnson always plays. He had 8 total tackles, 6 of them being solo. 1 tackle for loss and 1 pass defend. He was all over, man. We play nickel a lot because of Teron Johnson. He's one of the best tackling corners in the NFL, certainly the best on our team. And today I thought he had a fantastic game. And it was, a defense that at points was struggling to stop the run. I don't think that was in part to Teron Johnson. I thought he definitely paid his dues, and I thought he had a pretty damn good game. The other guy I was actually going to give it to wasn't even a Bill. It was Mac Jones, who I thought had a pretty decent game. I thought Mac Jones was making tosses that, were giving that team the best chance that they had to win. He threw for 40 times and 26 completions and 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks, but, I thought Mac Jones had a good day, and I was going to give it to him, but that's no fun. Yeah, and one monster hit. I'm not sure if that's what counted as the pass defend. I would assume not. I think that's probably – I think that hit that he had on Tyquan Thornton probably goes down as a forced incompletion, at least in terms of like PFF stat keeping purposes. But yeah, and one monster hit. I mean, he was a force at the line of scrimmage all day long, coming up to make tackles on running backs, drilling receivers when he had to, forcing completions, deflecting passes. He was, I thought, one of, if not the best defensive player on it. I think our best defensive player today because of that. But yeah, in terms of defensive play, I thought, like I said, he was the best guy. Those were my 3 stars from today. We talked a lot about the offense. I do want to touch on the defense, talking about Teron Johnson, kind of just unraveling the defensive side of things here. Not only did Teron Johnson have a good game, I thought Jordan Poyer, per usual, had a good game. Matt Milano was doing Matt Milano type things. Tremaine Edmonds, we heard his name called a lot. He had an interception. Tremaine Edmonds not only had an interception, he had a quarterback hit, 3 pass defense, 7 total tackles. So, Tremaine Edmonds probably could have been worked into that fold. Matt Milano, we know he had 2 pass defensive pick. You probably could have given the 3rd star to probably either Matt Milano or Tremaine Edmonds, but I thought Teron Johnson earned it. as well. So that's why I went that route. But it was another one of those days for the defense, which has kind of been the story of the year for them. It felt like we were getting gashed and guys were wide open and the run game was working for the Patriots. And then they make 1, 2, 3 big plays that are ultimately game changing. It started off with what Lucas said with the Trey's interception. That was the first big play, in my opinion. We forced that interception. That was pretty much the spark that did it. So we're getting gashed all game. The Patriots are driving down the field. Mac Jones is having his way. Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are gashing us on the ground. And then Mac Jones throws up a prayer on a 50-50 ball, and Nelson Aguilar just kind of doesn't give a shit, if we're being honest. But Trey White goes up and he makes the receiver-type play, and he comes down with the pick. That was game-changing, man. As much as that defense got gashed, that was huge. The kick returns were huge. They were game-changing. That first interception by Trey White was also game-changing. And that wasn't the only time that they made a big play. Because the following drive, after we got that interception, the Bills go out, and I think we fumbled. That was when Devin Singletary fumbled, if I'm not mistaken. So they go right back. The defense has to go right back on the field, and the Patriots are in the red zone. And what happens? We hold them to 3 points. Go Bills, Ethan. Damn right. So, that's 2 big stops in a row that the Bills have. So the Patriots drive down the field. We force an interception in the red zone on the Patriots by Trey White. The following drive, once again, placed right back in the red zone due to a Devin Singletary fumble, and we hold them to 3 points. Those were 2 humongous stops. And then I think we had one more. We had another. And then, of course, the other 2 interceptions between Matt Milano and, Matt Milano, which kind of sealed the deal. Tremaine Edmonds came kind of in a garbage time type situation. But, it just feels like, especially the first half, man, the defense wasn't having a good day. But the second half adjustments were made. We started getting turnovers. We started forcing Mac Jones into uncomfortable situations. And, the defense did what they did best, and that was kind of keep this game close for us. Yeah, Pokemon, I was just talking about Trey. I thought he had a good day today. I thought he's been playing well in general. I know some people have been talking, kind of disrespectfully toward him, which I feel like is incorrect. I think Trey has been excellent since he's returned. It all started with, the noticeable impact that he's had started with the Miami game a couple of weeks ago when, we asked him to go press man against the fastest receivers in the game coming off of a torn ACL, and he did it. He did it as well as you can ask him to. So it started with that, and I think ever since he's done his job, and I think a lot more. And today just speaks to that narrative that Trey White has been what I would view as pretty damn excellent. Excuse me. But yeah, today was a 2022 Buffalo Bills victory. Offense stalls out of nowhere, not moving the ball the way you'd hope them to. Josh Allen looking inconsistent, and different phases of the game ultimately winning it for us between, the special teams, the defense making stops when they had to. Let's look at the play-by-play because I do want to check out, because at one point, this was a 14-14 game going into half, right? Coming out of half, that was when, so the Patriots' first drive was the Trey White interception. So that was huge coming out of half. The way that the Patriots were driving down the field, they had an opportunity to take the lead, take a 21-14 lead, because on 1st and 10, Mac Jones deep left intended for Nelson Aguilar, intercepted by Trey White at the 2. If that's a catch or an incompletion, they're probably getting at minimum 3 points. So they come out of half, they go up 17-14. The following drive, we fumble. Devin Singletary drops the ball, and it's recovered by New England. The following drive, field goal, because they're already in field goal range. And then that was when he and Hines' second return touchdown happened. So the first 4 drives accumulatively in the second half were all achieved by the defense and the special teams. This was, I think, the most important stretch of game here. We had the interception, and then we fumbled, of course, held into a field goal. We have the return touchdown, and then the defense forces another punt, and that's when the offense drives down and scores. So that's when I think was the biggest stretch of games. Those first 5 drives in the second half was really where I think we ultimately won. When we went up 21-17, that's when or actually 28-17. I'm sorry. That's when I think we really won the game. And that was due to the kick return touchdown, Nyheim Hines, the second one, and the defense. Like I said, just another day where the defense has to pretty much win the game for the offense, which, I mean, it is what it is. The offense pulls out when it has to, but at times it's just tough sledding, man. It really is. The run game wasn't bad. Josh had 9 carries on 16 attempts, or 9 rushes for 16 yards. James Cook had his way a lot more than Devin Singletary did. 7 for 29 isn't bad, but it wasn't a big day on the ground. You know, over these last few weeks, we've been seeing the impact had on the ground by the Buffalo Bills. Today wasn't that day. Today was primarily done through the air. And, how can I not talk about it? Hold on, let me pull that. I'm going to pull this clip up real quick. We had a flash from the past today. We had a flashback, a blast to the past. Is that what it's called? Blast from the past, blast to the past. How could we not talk about what was just absolutely electric? Where is it? Hold on, I can't type. This was the best play of the day. You know, the first kick return touchdown by Nyheim Hines was probably the best play of the day. But this right here was, in my opinion, this play, the most exciting, the most unpredictable one, if you will. Here we go. I mean, I'll present without context. Share screen, Chrome tab. Okay. Present without context. This was the second play of the game, in my opinion. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Josh Allen rolls out right. Another deep bomb for no reason. And John Brown just.
Oh, my goodness. They call him Smoke.
Oh, my goodness. They call him Smoke. Hey, for a guy that we brought in hoping to make an intermediate impact or intermittent impact, he's definitely done that. A couple weeks back, John Brown had a deep target. I think it was against the Jets in one-on-one against Sauce Gardner. He had a step on Sauce. These damn bots. He had a step on Sauce, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to come down with it. And then today, he gets another opportunity deep down the field. Josh is chucking. Josh was having a day down the field, just kind of chucking. John Brown gets behind the secondary, makes a really tough catch. I mean, John Brown made a super tough catch, diving full extension, being able to come down with the ball, looking over your shoulder like that, and then secure it the way he did without allowing the bobble. We see a lot of those situations where players are catching it over their shoulder, and as they're coming down to the ground, you see they're holding it with one arm, and like they come down flat on the ground, and then you see the ball hit the ground, but then bobble. You'll see it like pop up, if you know what I mean. It'll like be in their arm. They'll have it secured, but the second they hit the deck, it kind of pops up, and then that's when the did he maintain control conversation comes in. John Brown did not leave any type of question mark with that grab. He brought it in. He secured it with both elbows, forearms hit the ground, elbows hit the ground, ball's protected, doesn't move at all. That was a veteran catch. That was a veteran type reception on John Brown's part. And who knows if he's going to make any type of plays in the postseason? Who knows if he has a catch? But to see that he can have this type of impact, if we call his name, if we're like, hey, John, look, you're going to run one route today, and it's going to be this. You know, if that's what the impact, if that's what the result of that's going to be, I am more than happy with that type of acquisition. And hopefully Cole Beasley will start to work him more into the postseason. I don't really know the whole I'm not sure what the optics look like in terms of calling Cole Beasley up, because I know he has to be up for a certain amount of games, and if he isn't by the playoffs, he can't play. I don't really know what that situation is looking like. I think he'll be able to play for the playoffs, or else we would have seen him today. But with that being said, being able to see two veterans come on and kind of come into the fold as if they never left is pretty cool. So John Brown, I thought, had the second best play of the day, in my opinion. Go Bills. Damn right, Canadian Giant. Smoke. Flash from the past. What else can we touch on? I mean, otherwise, there really wasn't much else that I wanted to discuss from this game, at least from first glance. I think my biggest takeaways. Okay, yeah, if you guys Perfect. If you guys have any questions, definitely drop them in the comment section to keep my brain churning. I mean, there's only so much initial reaction that I have from this game. So if you guys have any questions, of course, feel free to drop them in the comments. Mikey says, what do you think of the rumors and Gronk saying he might play for Buffalo? That'd be cool. I mean, all the people that say, I don't like Gronk because of what he did to Trey White 4 years ago. I can almost assure you, knowing Trey White's personality, knowing Gronk's personality, they would probably be best friends. Like, they're both goofy. The whole Trey White Goalie Academy thing, the whole thing with the play sheet, going out on the field and him looking at it. He's a goofball. Trey White's a goofball. Gronk is a goofball. I think they would be best friends. So the whole, we don't like Gronk because he cheap shotted Trey a couple of years back, I think that's overblown. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if Gronk returns. I think if Gronk returns, it'll be with Tampa Bay. I don't think he would do his buddy Tom like that. Like, coming back to football. You're coming back to football, Rob, but you're not going to come play with me. Like, I don't think Brady would appreciate that. So if he does return, I think it'll be with Tampa. I don't think he returns, period. But that'd be pretty cool to see him to see him return. He also says, and also the Texans pulled the worst move of the season and cost themselves the 1 pick. I cannot believe that they went for 2. I cannot believe the Texans tied that game back up. I mean, they were winning the whole time. The Colts scored 2 consecutive touchdowns, took the lead. I could not believe the Texans tied that game. And then they went for 2. That's the biggest FU to their fans that I've ever seen. The Texans threw a big old FU to all the fans, to all the Texans, all the Houston fans, man. They really did. I mean, they knew what was at stake going to that game. Lovie Smith, I think he probably assumes he's going to get fired. So he's like, you know what? Screw you, Houston. I don't want you getting the first pick. I'm going to be out of here anyway. Let's go for 2. It pays off. Sam Ehlinger can't drive down the field to get into field goal range, and that's your ball game. So how pissed are you if you're a Texans fan? Like, let's put it this way. If the Bills were in that situation, right, and you see Sean McDermott going for 2 there and ultimately winning, are you mad about that? Like, just kind of put yourself in their shoes. Like, I think I would be. I would be happy. Like, I'd be happy that we won, but at the same time, I'd be like, really? Like, we went through this whole season getting, wanting the number 1 overall pick, and that's what happened. Like, you got to be kidding me that you guys really did us like that. That would piss me off if I was a Texans fan. The Texans got the number 1 pick. Are the Bears really going to take a QB? I don't think necessarily it's the Bears that are what the Texans would be afraid of in terms of stealing a quarterback from them. It's the idea that the Bears, now obviously knowing that they're not going to take a quarterback, are going to be willing to trade back. I can almost assure you that the Bears will trade back and be able to, maybe garner another late first rounder and maybe a second or something like that to get out of the first. I mean, who knows what type of package the Bears are going to be offered for that first overall selection, perhaps by the Colts, perhaps by the Commanders. Who knows what could be offered, but now the worry for the Texans isn't the Bears. It's the Bears trading backward for someone else. And I think that is the big caveat here. I don't think the Bears, with that pick are threatening anything that the Texans would be selecting, like you mentioned, but I think it'll be the prospect that the Bears ultimately trade out and allow someone else to go into that position and take a quarterback. And I mean, if you're Chicago and you're going to get offers, I mean, you're bound to get something juicy enough, and they're going to trade out. So I think that's really what the thing is that is the biggest annoyance in terms of Texans fans, is that they'll trade out. I'd say it's important because look at what could have been if the Jets kept losing and got Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I mean, the Jets did. We saw it a couple of years back. The Jets won a game they shouldn't have, a useless game, and they could have ended up with Trevor Lawrence. And it's, I'm sure it haunts Jets fans to this day, similar to how the Bills could have had, I don't know who we could have had instead of Sammy Watkins. I think Mike Evans is on that list. I think we also, Von Miller was 2014 too, wasn't he? I think Von Miller might have been that class, but regardless, we could have had a lot of guys that weren't named Sammy Watkins, and we went with Sammy Watkins. Not that it's the same type of application, but it's the same premise. Like, my God, what we could have had and what could be today. And that's probably what the Jets are saying right now, because the Jets had Trevor Lawrence. Well, granted, the Jets also don't end up with Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, and whoever else they got in this past draft class is Trevor Lawrence, if Trevor Lawrence is on that team, because they're not so bad in Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. But still, I'm sure you'd probably rather have Trevor than Sauce Gardner, with all due respect, right? Ugh. Speaking of that, we did see the Jaguars come out with a victory over the Titans to take home the AFC South. I think it's going to be a fun postseason, man. I don't want Tua to play, because I think it's for, in his best interest if Tua doesn't play. But we are going to have – Miller was 11. We were pick off, but we did get Marcel Darius, which wasn't horrible. Lucas, can you tell me who else we could have had instead of Sammy Watkins in 14? I think there were a couple other guys that we could have ended up with. I know Mike Evans was probably one of them. I know Odell was in that draft class, but I can't remember if he was before or after Sammy. But I am interested. But I mean, the AFC playoff picture. Let's go look at the AFC playoff picture, because it's going to be a good one. Let's see. Notifications. I already did see Ari Marioff, however you say his name. NFL Sports Update tweeted out. Oh, yeah. I also want to talk about that. Okay, here we go. The AFC playoff picture. Let's take a quick gander. Take a gander, because it's going to be fun. We're going to have a fun few weeks here, folks. Share my screen. Here we got Chiefs with the bye, Bills second, Bengals third, Jaguars for wow. I mean, listen to this. We're going to have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, hopefully Lamar Jackson, and maybe possibly Tua Tagovailoa. These are 7 fun teams, 7 good quarterbacks, and probably the 7 teams that at this point deserve to be here. The Patriots didn't deserve it. The Steelers didn't deserve it. Despite the fact that both of them got in a situation to get there, I don't think either of them deserved it. Who else was in the running? I know the Titans, of course, were in the running. I don't think they deserved it. As great as Mike Vrabel's been. So we have one hell of a collective AFC playoff picture here, and I'm excited to see it all shake itself out. Also, let's look at this. Jacoby. Do you guys think that Jacoby Myers' catch was a touchdown? Oh, wow, that was Teron Johnson, actually. But, I mean, it was an amazing catch, so it is what it is. I'm not going to fault him for it. Let's pull it up. I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. Oh, wait. Lucas says Odell, Landry are the 2 that come to mind. Gotcha. I know Odell from the – yeah, Landry was too. I forgot about Landry. All right. Was this a catch? I saw some people saying no. Oh, did you see? I mean, look at that, man. Look at that foot. Watch his foot, man. I mean, my God. Like, is that touching? From this angle, it's so hard to tell. But regardless, that catch was just
Fake again.
Insane. It didn't look like it at all. I mean, at first glance, from a real-time replay, I mean, the fact that the refs called this a touchdown, I thought they were psychotic. I thought this guy was nuts. I mean, he probably did just guess, but the fact that I think he did get the call right originally was remarkable. The refs have some bad moments, but the fact that this was called a touchdown in the field, hey, I mean, in real time, that did not look like a touchdown, like in any regard whatsoever. Oh, come on. I want another replay. Are they going to show another angle? Okay, here we go. That looks like it's down to me. From this angle, can I do a control zoom? No, it's not going to work. Of course not. To me, that looks down. I know it could be debated. Some people on Twitter were saying it wasn't a touchdown. Some people were saying actually the ball possession. That's what the argument was. Some people were saying he didn't have possession of the ball when getting that first foot down. So he's got it right there. People were saying he was bobbling it here. I mean, that's people were questioning the possession of the ball when he got his first foot down. I don't know. I mean, it was called a touchdown on the field, especially. I mean, I think that's a touchdown, man. He looks like he's got possession the whole way. I think the whole bobble the ball thing's a little bit overblown. He had the ball. Yeah, I mean, I think they call this a touchdown. Now, the better question is, do they call that a touchdown if it's called incomplete on the field? Yeah, I think it's too close to call no touchdown. I agree. So let's say hypothetically they call it no touchdown. Is it overturned? Now that's what I think. I mean, to me, well, let's go to the other angle. To me, I mean, if it's called no touchdown on the field originally, and you see this is the first foot, and then you see the second one, of course, I think this is enough to be overturned. I know some people were saying if it was called no touchdown on the field, then it would not be overturned. But in my opinion, I think this was a touchdown. Jakobi Meyers, even if this was called incomplete, I think they're overturning it. I think it was a phenomenal grab. He had possession the whole way, and he got both feet in. I mean, that foot was no question. That foot, I think, did skim. People were questioning the possession that Jakobi had coming down with the first foot. I think you're really reaching if you're saying that he didn't have possession. I think that's a massive reach because he hauls it in with perfect ball security, about as secure as you can get it. So I think that was I think that's a touchdown. Kind of hard to rule it any other way. I know some people were saying that it probably shouldn't have been. What else happened in this game that I want to touch on real quick? A lot happened in this game, man. What the hell? Bills. Matt Milano is trending. Why is Matt Milano trending? What did Matt Milano do now? Bills. Oh, wow. John Brown gave his touchdown ball to Denny Kellington. Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Isn't it Danny Kellington? Is it Denny? Either way, that's really cool. He's the man that resuscitated Damar Hamlin. Wow, this is really cool. All right, I mean, that's probably about all I have for today's game, folks. If you guys have any comments, questions, thoughts that you guys want to drop in the comment section, of course, feel free to do so before I hop out of here. But things to be critical of: we're a team that plays to the level of our opponents. That's bad news in games like this today. But it's also good news because we're going into the playoffs. We're going to be playing good teams. We play to the level of our opponents. I think we're going to see the best of this Bills team that we've seen all year when it matters the most. So I'm not too worried about it. Get nervous we didn't kneel in the end zone on the one pick and almost got stripped. I did. My brother was yelling for Matt Milano to kneel it, but you know, I trust. I think Matt Milano's smart enough to know, like, if he's got enough room to run or if he would have went down. I think Matt Milano's got enough football IQ. There are some guys out there that, you know, they catch the pick, they just want to sprint. I think Matt Milano knows enough if he had enough space or not. But my brother was saying the same thing. Milano was probably trending because of how swole he is. Yeah, honestly, Matt Milano's a beautiful guy. Matt Milano is a strong, beautiful human. All right. But yeah, like I said, I'll probably hop off here. We still have games going on right now, so I'm going to go watch those. Going to go eat some dinner. If you guys did enjoy the live stream, as always, you know, drop a like, follow, do all that fun stuff. Subscribe here on YouTube. Going to be doing, you know, of course, live streams to finish out the season, and I'm going to keep uploading the short form content. Going to try to work in some long form here over the next few weeks if I can find the time. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Going to the playoffs, playing against the Dolphins. Going to have a lot of anticipation building up for this one. We're going to be on Tua concussion watch. We're going to be on, Damar Hamlin watch as always as he continues to progress. So we have a lot to look forward to this coming week. And this is the year, man. This is what we've been waiting for. What this rough 18-week season has prepared us for is this playoff run. So fingers crossed. Keep everybody in good faith. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and go Buffalo Bills, baby.